Hey guys, in this video, I want to share Kingsmarch, and it's optional content in Path of Exile 1 that you don't have to do, but if you got a bunch of gold burning a hole in your pocket and you want something to just accumulate some additional wealth while you're playing the game, this video is for you. Easily, plain English, this is what Kingsmarch is, how I think you should use it to accumulate wealth on your account for this league. So, first and foremost, let's talk about Kingsmarch, what it is and what it isn't. Kingsmarch is just a system you can set up for yourself to produce additional value for you when you're playing the game, when you're offline, as long as you have gold to do so. And there's a few different systems here. So clicking on the Toggle Town map, or V as in victory, you're gonna open up all the different services Kingsmarch has to offer. Now it's my goal here to teach you what I'm doing, and you can replicate that if you want, so that you're getting value that is in the right places and you're not really wasting the gold that you have, because eventually you will get locked up on that gold, you will want more. So what you're trying to do is you want to use farming to produce farming materials so that you can send them to your shipping crew to send shipments out to certain locations in the game to give you wealth. And in the description of this video, I'm going to show you the Kingsmarch wiki. You can kind of scroll through, read it if you like to, and just understand that certain resources are going to provide certain value more. Like blue xanthemum is a really good crop that we use to go ahead and get things like divines, exalted orbs, and maybe even better stuff like mirror shards later. So in this section, the first thing I want you to do when you get to Kingsmarch, in my opinion, to set this up right, is get your farmers all set. And so farmers have plots. And when you click on this, you can see I've got people farming ogords, I've got people farming blue xanthemum at the moment. On the bottom left-hand side, you can see that my crops are just growing just by spending some gold. Like I've got some gold here, and I could add gold that I have from playing the game to my treasury. The treasury is going to be good for some amount of time, and it shows you how much in wages I'm paying all of my workers to give me this sort of value. Okay, whether it's going to be mining or shipping or doing some mapping for me, disenchanting, whatever the case is. My total cost is 14,000 gold per hour, and this is what they've accumulated so far in doing that. So as a new player, I want you to get the highest rank farmers that you can, which is rank 5. In Kingsmarch, people can be rank 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to show you, I'm just going to navigate over there. So when you first load in, I'll take you to the waypoint. This is what you would see. So you load into Kingsmarch, this is where you start, and then you'd be over here. So you kind of kick down, go up the road all the way over here, and then you start clicking on farming plots to choose what kind of crop do you want your workers to farm. Blue xanthemum, wheat, corn, pumpkins, ogords, you name it, okay? Now, again, blue xanthemum is going to give you the most value, and on your first shipment here, you're going to want to put a ton of blue xanthemum out there. So you can click on manage workers. You can see, like, I've got rank 4 farmers, I've got rank 4, I've got rank 3. So these guys need to be upgraded. Well, how did I get these? How did I get these farmers? To get access to workers in Kingsmarch, there's a few guys here in the main town called Ralph and Johan. So Ralph is the recruiter. You click on town recruitment, and Ralph is going to give you a bunch of different workers you could hire with the rank listed on what they do. Now, you want to get, ideally, you'd have a guy that's just a farmer and nothing else. He'll cost less than having many different skills that he could do. He could become a mapper for you. He could disenchant things for you. A single job employee is going to be cheaper and more efficient, which is what you're looking for primarily. Now, I have a 3 worker. I got to re-roll this, and I'll show you quickly here. If I click on re-roll workers, recruits, it's giving me rank 2, giving me some rank 1 guys. Like if I spend 16,000 gold, it's going to re-roll it with a bunch of high-ranking guys, which is great. That's actually not what I'm looking for, but you can see that spending 16,000 gold when you're starting up Kingsmarch can be really, really smart, because you're going to be fishing out those high-ranking individuals to do the job. The higher the rank, the more efficient they are at that task. So this is how you hire the workers that you need for the job. And then when you buy them, they're going to go over here to like your idle. They're idle. They're on the right-hand side. They're just waiting to be assigned to a role. And they're not going to cost you anything until you put them into that slot to work. So let's go over what you should have done. You made your way to Kingsmarch. You've gone to your farming. You've assigned 3 different workers for all these different crops. And your crops are now being cropped at your farm. Perfect. The next thing you're going to do is go to shipping. And shipping can have sailors. You're going to send some sailors out to sea. Okay? So we're going to kick down over here. We're going to go visit Tujan, and Tujan says, hey, shipping, click on it. You can have a crew, and you just click on prepare crew, and you assign these crewmates to a ship. You can have 3 ships that go. At the moment, I'm only using 1, and I recommend just using 1 to get started. So you have a crew of 6 people, and you want to have a high shipping crew. So I would recommend 5, like invest in these guys, because when you send them out to sea with all of the farmed crops that you got from Kingsmarch, the higher rank they are, the less chance they have to fail. And this is your risk meter here. So if the guys going to sea don't know anything about like operating, then they're going to fail. They're going to come in contact with pirates that steal their stuff. They're going to be affected by disease. Some of that stuff might fall overboard. Like they fall into some problems, right? Well, good pirate, good excuse me, good sailors don't have that issue. So go for rank 5 when you're doing this, so you don't lose the valuable cargo that they're sending out. And then you have all these different locations, be it Ribbonfell, you could have Ninganu, you could also have Kelgar. So you can see that by sending crops like Ogord's corn and wheat, they're going to have additional bonuses to the rewards yielded by sending them that shipment. And in addition, and again, if you look at the wiki, you're going to see that blue xanthamum is a really good resource crop-wise to send over there. So make sure you're sending in some of that just to mix it up to get extra value. But at least your first shipment should be, and listen to this one, 20,000 blue xanthamum and 200,000 thaumaturgic dust. If you send that shipment over to Kalgur, you should be getting some divine orbs back just for that breakdown. Now for me, I'm waiting to send a 50 million set. I haven't done that yet, but I will. 50 million is the highest you can send, and that should result in some amount of mirror shards. So here's how you would send a shipment in Kingsmarch. You would click on shipment, okay? And you would prepare the shipment value. And as you drag this meter, whether it's going to be like blue xanthamum, right, you're going to see that this thing has value. And it's how much of this crop are we sending? So you want to send 20,000 as your first one, in my opinion. So 20,000 would be okay. That's 480,000 shipment value. And then you can use thaumaturgic dust, 200,000 of that. So 200,000 and done, okay? That is looking minty fresh. 200,000. This is a 680,000 shipment value. When you send that to Kalgur, you should be getting back a few divine orbs with that. It's going to take time to collect, but better workers produce more crops faster, so you have to wait less. When you send these guys, when you select your port, it's going to take some hours at sea, and that's where they start to cost you gold to send it and then come back. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get your crops to be sent from your shipment, from your ship, all the way back into you for benefit. The other thing is disenchanting. So step 1, get your farmers. Step 2, hire some sailors. Step 3, get your disenchanting up. Now disenchanting is awesome because you're going to need to get dust to use your combinator to do some crafting. You're going to need dust to multiplicatively increase the value of your shipments that you send out. It's just something you want to be doing. So I recommend hiring at least 1 or 2 of these guys. I've got 2, and they break down all this kind of dust for me quite easily. And this is known information, but the more rare the items are that you put inside this disenchanting window, I'll show you here, Rog right here, pretty sweet. Rog is the disenchanter. You click on disenchanting and you start putting items in here, and they'll work on that to disenchant that for you. Now, tier 0 uniques sell for a lot of dust. I'm not sure if you're aware of that or not, but I'll show you here. If I type in, as an example, I clear my filters and I type in Urquhart, E-R-Q, right? Maro Urki, Karimol, and I search this up. For 89 Chaos, I'll do in-person buyout only. For 89 C, you can see that this thing, well, you wouldn't know it, but this is going to give you 1.8 million dust every time you purchase it. So it's just less than a divine orb, and it gives you 1.8 million dust. And when you're working towards that 50 million shipment, 1.8 is a lot in one item. So it's worth it for you to buy that and then disenchant it. And then when you do this, by the way, you can get a little bit more value. So when you buy this to sell it, you take this item and you put it in your disenchanting window, it's 1.3 million dust. But when you give quality to it, it gets even more dust. Quality is enhancing the value of the item that is going to be disenchanted. And subsequently, if you corrupt it after that and you hit a good corruption modifier, it's even more valuable. But I wouldn't recommend you do that because it's not always guaranteed that the Val Orb corruption will result in a benefit on the item or that it won't just turn it yellow. So just so you know, quality corruption could increase the value of this, but we don't have to do that. Just increase quality, disenchant it, 1.8 million dust every time, okay? And that's for any tier 0 unique. So there's a list that you can find as well, and just search those up and you'll see they're all pretty competitive price-wise. People know what things are worth when they play these games. Like, you're not just gonna like find one that's, oh my God, nobody knows about this. And they've looked and I've looked and it's all the same. The market's pretty similar on tier 0 uniques, okay? There's a couple other ones that you could use, but go for that strategy for disenchanting. So now that you have disenchanting done, you've got your farming, so you're making crops, you're sending your crops, you're making divines now, you're working your way towards mirror tier items, that's great. You've got a bunch of gold in your pocket. The last thing we're gonna talk about is mappers. So mappers are really expensive, and this is your map device. So you simply click on this by hiring workers. Now, I've heard a good conversation about people saying they're losing their mappers, and I haven't lost a single mapper yet. And I think the reason is people are not using 6 mappers, and I think people are not using rank 5 and 4. I would love to tell you, I want everybody to have rank 5 mappers. Like, I've got some people here, I'll show you. I really don't want to have this rank 4 map Chad here, so I'm going to go ahead and remove Tim, right? And I'm going to bring Joran in. So now I just got another rank 5 mapper, and the reason this is important is they have a less chance to fail because they're better at running your maps. And it's really simple. So which maps do you want to run? Things like this. These are just maps that I don't want to run because it's not worth my value. So if I just take these maps and I control left click, I can start putting all these maps on my map device, and I click open map. And in about 20 minutes, my mappers are going to run through this, and you can mouse over a map to see the expected completion, the time, and then the chance for an Atlas runner to be permanently killed in the map. So if a rank 5 mapper dies, he's going to take rank 4 mappers with him. So you really don't want these guys to die, but there's about a 1% chance for them to get clapped as long as you have 6. So I'm hoping that these guys make it out okay, and they're going to start bringing back some value. I've heard of people getting Mirrors of Kalandra. I've seen Divines come out of this. These things print money. And the cool thing about this is when they're done running that map, you can actually see that you can apply your own loot filter in the game that you're using to the items presented, see if they're any good for you, or maybe if it's something that you actually want. So mappers are like the last thing you can do, and you can have many different maps. You can have a whole bunch of these different maps running at the same time. So if that's something that you want, you can have 3, which is 18 mappers working for you, running these maps while you're mapping. So it becomes a system of you trying to just spend your currency that they're getting to get more gold to keep the system working for you. But I can be honest, all these levels of like crops, collections, shipping, dust farming, mapping, to be quite frank, it does feel like it becomes work. And the second that the game feels like work, I kind of don't want to do it. I just want to enjoy my time. Just remember that everything I'm showing you in this video, that's optional content. You don't have to get the extra value. You don't even have to interact with this. And a lot of people don't because they don't want the game to feel like work. And I understand that. But if you're the kind of player that's looking to make wealth just by having gold and you want something to do with it, you didn't know you could do this, this is Kingsmarch. You use Ralph to re-roll high-level workers. You assign those workers to tasks, and you use these workers to send value across the sea to other ports to get you some bonus bucks so you can improve your character in Rayclast and Path of Exile. And then if there's ever maps that you find that you just don't want to run because you can't run them, they have reflect, they don't regenerate life, things like that, that's what mappers are here to solve for you. Now, when it comes to ore, you could smelt ores and get bars, and certain shipping areas and certain locations want more ore, but we only care so much about currency, and that's not something that I even focus on when I'm doing this. I have a few, but I'm not even caring about them at all. It doesn't matter. So Kingsmarch, quickly, one more overview. Get your farmer set up, get those crops, send those crops out to sea. Make sure you've got some disenchanting dust to go with that so you can make value on that. And again, mappers, when you have maps that you don't want to run and you want some extra value. That's all Kingsmarch is. That's how I'm using it. That's how you can use it to make several divines, chaos, exalted orbs, and you name it. Maybe even gear or gems or jewels that are selling for many divines. It's possible. Kingsmarch is there for you. And I hope this Kingsmarch overview gives you an idea of how to quickly interact. I will tell you, I should have mentioned this too when we're talking about disenchanting. In your hideout, I'll show you. You can actually bring in a few of these NPCs like Johan. You can click on Johan, click Manage Town, and just add any amount of gold on your person to Kingsmarch so you have that treasury. So if I add that in there, you can see I've increased the time. And also Rog can disenchant right from your hideout, so you don't have to go all the way back to Kingsmarch to get that dust. That's how I use Kingsmarch. Hope this video is informative. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.